Welcome once again to 720 and 720. This is John Schulman. We are thrilled to have our first non-sports guy, but one of the most successful humans I know, Ted Alling. I won't call you Teddy. Ted Alling, welcome to 720 and 720.
Well, hey, I'm excited to be on here. I follow you guys on Twitter. You got some great, I'm honored to be on the first non-athlete. I take a little bit of offense of that. Well, I was a left guard in high school, number 74, so.
They always put the best athletes at left guard. You know that, right? Listen, as I take J.C. Schulman up to ESPN for a tour, Seth Greenberg gave us a tour. We ran into Herm Edwards, and Coach Edwards came out from the NFL gig, and he came out and he said, son, what position you play? And J.C. said, I play I'm center or I play on the line. He said, well, that's great, but you ain't going to get the girls. The quarterback gets the girls. So, son, you need to go tell your coach you need to play quarterback.
I love it.
So I'm assuming that's why you got married late, Ted, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was a late bloomer.
All right, well, listen, I'm going to shut up, but here's how we're going to get started here. These podcasts are to help young coaches, young people, parents, players, and all the deal. Here's what I want to do. I want to take everybody real quick through your history, but what you did is, in basketball terms, is you took a basketball program that had never played a game and you took it to a national championship. So you took a company that wasn't even a company and you won a national championship, and in business terms you sold it for a lot of money, correct?
That is true.
Tell us how you got started. What were the keys? How on earth did you take a company with no employees and then sell it for millions and millions, hundreds of millions later on?
Well, it's a great story. So I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, went to Vestavia High School, and I went really far away from college to Sanford, 4 miles away.
Okay.
It's funny. I was thinking about your podcast earlier, and when I started my company, I say this all the time. I was a very average athlete, average student, but I was really big in like my fraternity in college. And I met these two knuckleheads, both from Chattanooga, which you know them well, Barry and Alan. And I've always surrounded myself with people smarter than myself. I could patent that. John, you're pretty good at that as well.
No doubt.
So went to work for a company called C.H. Robinson right out of college for 2 years. And then I got a chance to start Access America Transport. So me and my buddy Barry, I came on a sales call to Chattanooga, and his dad had a brick company. And I was doing logistics, and me and him started talking. We're like, you think we could do this on our own? And I was like, let's freaking do it. And so I just built a house, and I convinced my wife. And so she said, I was lucky because her dad was an entrepreneur. And a lot of people in life don't have parents that take risks. So she was kind of used to taking risks. And so she was like, you know what, let's go for it. So I was, 23-year-old, I knew I wanted to start a business in college, but I was lucky because I had, my buddy whose dad put some money up. And so we started the company super humbly in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I'm a huge goal setter. So I had two things when we started the company. First thing, I said, I want to be the best place in America to work. Like, that's it. If we are the best place in America to work, we're going to attract the most positive people, and positive people are productive people. And second, I said, I want to be $100 million company. And Barry is the financial guy. He's like, whoa, okay, psycho, let's settle down, because it was just the two of us. And so I just set really insane 10X goals. And I think, when you compare that to sports, when you're starting your own sports program, if you don't have these super high expectations, like, you're never going to get there. Well, you're the leader. I love the quote, the speed of the pack is determined by the leader. And so I'm sitting there saying these crazy things, and I believed it too. I felt like if we got the right people around us, we could grow something big.
Well, I wonder.
And
I
so
wonder if you just had if you had a basketball program, and I'm trying to relate everything here from the business side to athletics. If you had a place and your basketball program was the best place to play ball and the most positive place to play ball, I wonder if more kids would come to it. And you just set that goal early that we're going to go to the NCAA tournament.
that's it, right? Yeah, that's exactly what my mindset was. It's funny. I just finished. I'm a big reader, and I just finished Dean Smith's book. And Dean Smith talked about. By the way, if there's any basketball coaches, you should be required to read his book. And the chapter, "The Carolina Way," is just unbelievable. But he talked about he would not. He liked to like the typical player UNC would recruit. He never went after like the highest scorer in the country. He's like, championship teams don't have the highest scorer in the country. And so, I think we kind of did the same thing. We wanted to get I call it all the time, I wanted to hire employees that had PhDs, poor, hungry, and driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I was all about getting folks that I could tell wanted more for their lives. I didn't like silver spoon young people. I like people that worked during high school and college, and to make $100,000 was life changing. And so that was really a lot of the type folks that we went after. So we set the goals really high for ourselves, and then it was just insane obsession. On the weekends, I would go to truck stop. So we were the middleman between manufacturers and trucking companies. So in America, there's all these small trucking companies that are moving freight for everybody, like Starbucks and Anheuser-Busch and Disney and Komatsu and Caterpillar. Those were some of our customers. But in the beginning, we just had like small lumber customers and brick customers and that sort of thing. And so my wife and I literally would go to truck stops on the weekends. Saturdays and Sundays, I'm driving to Cleveland, Tennessee, and down towards Atlanta, and I'd knock on drivers' trucks, which is very scary. But I would knock on the doors and be, "Hey, brother, what's going on? Where are you delivering this load?" They'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to Savannah, Georgia," and I'd give them my card and be like, "Hey, when you get to Savannah, call me. I'm going to help you out." So I developed relationships with all different, walks of people. And I really believe, you got to treat, one of my mentors, a guy that I've read a lot about, and there's a great YouTube. His name's Art Williams. And I met Art about a year ago, and he grew Primerica from himself to over 200,000 employees. And he said, "Ted, every person I meet, I picture them with a sign around their neck that says, 'Make me feel special.'" He said, the truck driver, the CEO, the doctor, everybody in the world wants to feel special. And Coach Schulman is one of the best people I know at that. But I try to really, it doesn't matter who it is, I see everyone, and that's my mindset when I see somebody. And so, and that's kind of what we did in the early age, especially with the truck drivers and employees. But we were super lucky. We grew it. First year, I think we did close to 2 million, and then we did 7 million, 18 million, 36, 45, 54 million, and then it got crazy. We went 97 million, 180 million, 350, and eventually got to 490 million in 12 years. And we had over 500 employees, 9 locations around the country, and the goal was always just continue to hire really great people, have a great culture. I think great companies and probably great basketball and football programs have soul. I mean, would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. There's no doubt. And they have culture now, Ted, in the athletic world is the buzzword. You got to have great culture. So tell me about your culture you had at Access America, because it was completely different than I'd ever seen.
Yeah, it was, we said stuff all the time, like one heartbeat. We really cared about people and their families, and it meant, I was CEO and there was people in the company making more money than me, and I was a CEO, and that sounds kind of crazy because most people think they'd make the most, but we had really strong compensation packages for our managers and our VPs and different level, and the culture was very caring. It's very uplifting. We got excited when people could say to us, "Hey, I get to send my kid to a private school now because of you guys. Hey, I bought my first home now." And so we were very just, I think one of the quotes that I really love, Zig Ziglar says, if you can help enough people get what they want in life, you can have anything you want.
Yeah.
And so I have been just obsessed with trying to help whoever it is get what they want in life. And I'm telling you, it's come back to me 100-fold. And so I'm just even if people work for me. I mean, we had at one time I tried to pay people to quit. We were like, hey, we'll pay $5,000 to walk out right now. And if people, and no one ever took it, but if someone was to take it, great. What a win for us. If that amount of money if you're going to lose, if you needed $5,000 too bad to quit this awesome job, we didn't want you there because we needed people that were fully committed to the company.
Well,
we had three employees with company logo tattoos, like real tattoos. And so I think it just really...
And you sold the company. Thanks a lot, Ted. I mean,
I paid
to get
removal.
I thought your culture, not only did you get self-motivated people in there, but it was fun. People didn't hate coming to work. It was fun. You had ping pong tables in there. You had pool tables in there. I was there one day when y'all had, everybody brought their musical instrument, and everybody's playing music after work, and they love coming to work, and they love you, and if they love their leader, they'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah. It's just like, any program, everything comes down from the leader, like up at the top, and that's how it's set. And I was just a super lucky guy to have great parents growing up and to teach what things are right and wrong. And I had great coaches. I mean, I really glean a lot of my success from my high school football coach and great parents and great brothers. So I feel every day I tell my dad I'm the luckiest guy alive. And I don't know. We just focused on our people. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but we worked with a lot of referrals too, where people were like, "Hey, you need to come work here." And so we really kind of scaled the business through relationships. And we thought long term. We had long term plans for people, and people like transparency too. People like a roadmap. Like, here's how we're going to get there, and this is what you have to do. And, if you read a lot about, and we push people hard. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We held people accountable. But if you read a lot about Jeff Bezos, the Amazon CEO, he's got a great book, The Everything Store, and people were like, you know what? This was the most intense years of my life, like when the early couple years of Amazon, how crazy it was growing. But they look back, and they were stressed out or whatever, but they look back on that process, and they're like, that was so fulfilling as a person because we're doing such good work. And I bet people would say the same about Nick Saban's program. Like, how hard is he pushing those coaches? It's very intense, obviously, because he's an intense human. But I guarantee they're learning such good lessons, and they're never gonna, they're making a run that's never happened before.
Well, it's the same thing having a coach or a teacher that's on you all the time. You hate them at the time. You think it's miserable at the time, and then you realize in 5 years, oh my God, that was my favorite teacher. That I learned the most. That was my favorite coach. I learned the most. Those were incredible. You show me a teacher or a coach that doesn't give a rip about what you do or let you slide. I'll show you one that doesn't give a rip about you. And I mean, you're there to learn. I mean, and we'll talk in a second about what you're doing now, but those kids going through Chattanooga Prep with you and your program, it's hard for them. And thank God it's hard for them. I mean, right. Don't let it be easy. If it's easy for them, they're not getting anything out of it. And so it's got to be hard for them. And then, it may not be fulfilling at that second. It will be, because you're giving them the ABCs, the fundamentals of life. And if you don't have it, you're screwed. You're okay. You love football. I'm trying to get you to love basketball, but you love football. Tell me, as you're looking for your employees like that, but in football, what are you looking? Give me some characteristics that you want from your players or your employees.
I need people that I can trust. And so a lot of that trust comes from people having high character. So it's, that's hard to find too. People that are really high character. And And that comes
How do you know a guy's high character? How do you know he's not BSing you in the interview?
Yeah, it's hard. That's hard to find, and a lot of that might come from other relationships and references and that sort of thing. But that's definitely something that we look for at a high level with high character. I love people, and this is like a term I'm obsessed with, but with a growth mindset. You can have fixed mindsets or growth mindsets. And this is someone that is constantly learning. I'm obsessed with podcasts and reading about business and successful people. What's so crazy, and I'm so glad I'm on your podcast because I'm really into podcasts. And it's like, when in the history of the world could you right now pick up your phone and listen to the most successful coaches on earth telling you exactly what to do? Like, here's the blueprint. Like, this is what you need to do. You just get some earphones, put in, and you can start listening to your podcast and getting the tips and trades and the hacks that can help scale as a young coach or old coach or whatever. See what they're doing, learn. And so I can't, I say this a lot. I speak to a lot of groups, and I'm just like, are you investing time or wasting time? And so you constantly need to be pushing yourself, learning as much as you can, and then, kind of giving back. So I love growth mindset people, high character people. You've got to be very ambitious too. I want to be surrounded with people that push me all the time. And, I know I'm setting the pace for a lot of stuff, but I like for people to be running faster than me and harder than me. And like, gosh, I got to keep up with these folks. And so, I like to be challenged in that way. Those are kind of three big things I think I'd probably look for.
I'm reading Eastman's book right now, all right? And I know he came and spoke for you to a group. His big thing is everybody has fear of failure. Everybody has it. Mm. And he talked about if you don't, his big thing is trying, and you have to try something. And if you don't try it, you'll never know, and you have to have guts to try it. A lot of people, and this is what I want to get in your head a little bit. Everybody talks a good game. Everybody talks about this idea or that idea, and maybe we should change defenses. Let's try this. Let's try to put in Tua in the halftime of a national championship game. Who does that? Nobody does that. But he had the guts to do that. A lot of people have neat ideas. You tried to do something. Y'all sat there and talked about starting a Smoothie King, and Barry ran the numbers and it wouldn't work. You not only talked about it, you put your money where your mouth was, and you did it, and you tried it. I know it was hard, but how do you have the guts to do that? Besides having belief in yourself, but everybody's got belief in themselves.
Right,
to a
everybody's
point.
got belief in themselves. I just told myself that there was no way we were going to fail. Like it's like there's a zero possibility, and I'm delusional. I'm a crazy person. That's really it.
I hate
really
to tell you, I would say that most successful business people and coaches are absolutely out of their minds, nuts, because you have to be, because you're going to fail so much, and you just got to disregard the failing and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, people are like, 90% of businesses fail, and I'm just like, we're putting it all on the line. I'm going to die before this thing fails. And it was just a complete, I don't even know. I mean, it's hard to even reflect on what we were able to do because we were moving so fast and we were so obsessed. And it was just constant, my granddad used to say, make your work a hobby and you'll never work a day in your life. And so this was my hobby. This was kind of everything, it's my family, my kids and my wife and the business. I don't have a ton of other, hobbies and that sort of thing. So, that's kind of early on, and reflecting now, I'm 41 now, so I was in it for a while, and now I'm doing a lot of other mentoring with other startups. I'm an investor in a lot of different companies.
Well,
go ahead.
Let me just tell everybody. All right, so Ted sells. I said Ted. I call you Teddy behind closed doors and non-microphones. But Ted sells his business and makes a bunch of money, and all his people make a bunch of money. So what does Ted do? He puts all of his money in a school here in Chattanooga for young kids. He start all boys in the 6th grade. And so talk to us about what you're trying to do for young people and what your school's trying to do for young people, because I think as coaches, we could take some things from what you and Dean Jones and Tim are doing at Chattanooga Prep.
Yeah, so we started a school. It's a school for disadvantaged boys. It's a charter school. My wife and I, the last 3 years, we went and visited the best schools in the country. Went up to St. Benedict's in Newark, which is a great school. I met with David Robinson in San Antonio. He's started 7 schools and went to LA, Kansas City, Atlanta, Chicago. Visited the best schools in the country, and I wanted to take all the best ideas and bring them back to Chattanooga. We've got some failing schools in downtown, some middle and high schools that are just not doing super well, and I'm noticing the graduates and just, these kids don't really have much of a shot. So we just started it last year, in August, and but it's some of the same beliefs that I had when I started Access America. Like I literally believe that this school is going to be on 60 Minutes, and this school, people from all over the world are going to come and see what we're doing down here at the school, and it's happening. So we've got 66 boys. It's very intentional. In the mornings, we have this town hall and kind of set the stage for the boys' day. And it's funny. So Coach Schulman is a mentor for a little kid, and his kid told me the other day, I asked him why he loved Chattanooga Prep. And he said, Mr. Alling, he said, I love Chattanooga Prep because I can come to school and I can learn. Because in my old school, the teacher had to deal with a bunch of kids that were, causing a ruckus, and she couldn't teach me. He goes, I can come here and be focused and learn. And so we have, out of our boys, 66 students, this is a crazy stat, 29 of the boys came in reading below a 2nd grade level. 2nd grade. And these are 6th grade boys. And so we're closing the achievement gap. But more than anything, we have 66 male mentors that are stepping up and committing 7 years to each boy. Because a lot of these kids don't have a lot of positive male influences in their life. And so we're giving this really advantaged education to them. It's super intentional. It's super focused. It's very structured. It's very disciplined, like John was saying earlier. And this is kind of the purpose, my wife and I's purpose of our life. I mean, we're again obsessing of this. We wake up, we talk about it. We go to bed, we're talking about it. It's kind of like just on our minds right now, and it's weird. I mean, I put a lot of my net worth into this thing because it's the right thing to do. But guess what? Somehow it's going to come back to me. I don't even know how. I don't even care because I feel so like I just know that I'm supposed to be doing this right now. And these students are going to be shocking the world. Like, I really, really know that they're going to be going to great universities. We got a great basketball coach that is just, he's so funny. He wants to win in the character bucket than the wins and losses. And that's how we feel too. And you know what? If we win in character, we're going to win in wins and losses too. And so we talk a lot about stuff like that. So it's a neat place. Any of your viewers are love to give a tour whenever you want, because we're doing some really unique things here, and it's just ChattanoogaPrep.com.
Well, so as a basketball coach or a football coach or as a teacher, as what you're starting at the school, most of us really just focus on that, and we don't go beyond. Like Furman's taking their kids now and getting a suit tailored for them and meeting with business people out in the community. I think it's really good. You just took a trip. Tell us about your trip you just took to Brooklyn.
Yeah. So this is really cool. There's a great documentary called Brooklyn Castle I saw a few years ago. And it kind of shows some kids in New York, some boys of color, and they play chess. And a lot of boys of color are told, you're supposed to dribble a ball better and run faster than someone else, than than the other kids in the school. But these kids start playing chess, and the moment they play chess, and this documentary talks about them beating a white kid, something in their brain unlocks, and they're like, oh my goodness, like, I'm really smart. And so we started a chess team. Our school has robotics, chess, soccer, and basketball right now. And so the chess team is we have 12 kids on the team. And 2 weekends ago, my family took 5 of the boys to Brooklyn for a chess tournament. It's like this huge, prestigious chess tournament, like kids from all over the world, Tokyo and London and Spain and South America. And these kids had never flown on a plane either, which was really cool. When we took off in Chattanooga, they started cheering, which was hilarious, which was really cool and special. But we got up there, and I went into this just, the kids have been working super hard. We have practice 4 days a week, and they didn't play chess before 6 months ago. So in my mind, I was like, we might win 2 or 3 matches, which total. And we ended up winning 11 matches, and we came in 19th out of 48 schools, and which was just a huge win. I mean, my goodness, we came in, the top half of the whole thing. But those boys, pride, confidence, I mean, it's like next level. The next day at school, they're just walking around with their chin up and chest out, and like they are now like want to go next level with it. So that's a really fun. We want to do a lot of those type experiences for the boys, getting them out. A lot of the kids have never left Chattanooga before, like not even been to Atlanta or anything. So we want to like kind of expand their minds and give them all the tools to be successful in life.
Well, when you do that, they know you care. And so as a basketball coach, I will tell you this, as a basketball coach, as a football coach, you're going on the road, you go play a game somewhere, take your kids and do something unique, non-sports related.
That's good.
Go take them. We went up to Philly to play the NCAA tournament. We took our guys to the to the Rocky statue and tried to do a few things, but I didn't do a great job of that. We get so focused on what we're supposed to do and trying to win games that we get blinded by trying to help them become a better young man. You all are not blinded because that's all you're trying to do at Chattanooga Prep.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
No, what you've done is you've tried to do. You didn't talk about it. You've tried new things. It worked. You made sure that it was going to work. Hiring your teachers. It's like almost hiring your assistant coaches. Is this the same process that you did for your employees at Access America?
Yeah, totally. It's the exact same. We want high energy. We want positive. We want lifelong learners. We want mission-driven people because, teachers get paid way too little than they should, and so we want to change some of that as well. So we're just trying to attract really high energy, motivated
all right.
teachers,
now, I know,
and we're doing it.
I know I'm laughing. Now listen, Ted, we had a guy named CY on this podcast. He's an associate head coach at he was my associate head coach at Chattanooga. He's now an assistant at Florida State for Leonard Hamilton in the ACC. And we talked about what are you looking for in recruits, and all he could talk about was high energy. So now you got an African American male from Carroll City, Florida, Miami, who grew up in the ghetto down there, and then you got Ted Alling, Caucasian number 74 left guard from Vestavia Hills in Sanford, and you both are talking about high energy, because if kids and employees and everybody's not high energy, you got no prayer, do you?
No, absolutely not. The kids feed off that energy. And they see it. They know that people care more, and that's what we've always surrounded ourselves with, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And you've got to be that way too. And to be that way, though, people have to be living their purpose. And so this is my purpose right now. And you've got to recruit coaches who obsess over being over. I just read Mike Tyson's book, and Tyson early on he had this great trainer, Cuss. And people don't know this about Tyson, but like he was a student of the game. Like every night when he was like in his teenage years, he's staying up watching all these great boxers, studying their technique, learning how they trained. I mean, he was a real student of the game. And so, I mean, that's what you got to do when you're tracking coaches too. Who is just put on earth to be a basketball coach? And you've got to go find those people.
I always talk about this. I always talk about that when coaches get done coaching and retire, so-called, they go into depression because it's not a job for them. It's a calling for them. And most of the time when business people retire, they go to the Bahamas and go into their nice home and have a blast. That's a job. It's not a calling. Coaching is a calling if you're in it for the right reason and not for money. What you're doing right now at Chattanooga Prep, that's a calling. What you did at Access America was make a lot of money. But what you did really is you help people. I mean, yeah, you made a lot of money, but you helped people get a chance to live their dream because of the unique pay structure you all had. But I do want to get back to one thing. You're talking about growth mindset. You're right. You got all these coaches. You got all these people on podcasts and videos and all this, and there's still people that are stubborn and non-growth mindset people, hard-headed people that refuse and think they're doing it, that their way is the only way. You see that in the business world?
Yeah, totally. I mean, and you've got to run from that. I love being around a lot of entrepreneurs that make my head hurt, that are so smart and so bright and pushing the limits on everything. And I see people that are just like, oh no, that won't work, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just have to discount them, because you've got to be always open to new ideas and learning new things. So it's a very, I just don't have time to be associated with people with that type of mindset.
Every summer after a season, I coached for 24 years in college. Every summer after the season, I would try to learn and learn and learn, and I would almost be embarrassed that I didn't know that in the previous season, or we played a ball screen like that, or we did it like that. If you don't continue to learn and look back and say, oh my God, I was terrible. What was I doing? And just
right.
keep growing and keep learning. I'm assuming, did you ever feel like that at Access after you learned something and you look back and went, what were people even listening for me to me about? Now
totally.
I'm so much smarter now than I used to be. And that's where I don't think people continue to learn.
Hey, I'll say this, and it's something else I learned from Dean Smith, and I've always felt this way, but Dean Smith said he would always go around to the older coaches, like at the camps and stuff, and he said, a lot of younger guys would discount what they're thinking, and he's like, I would find the oldest coaches there and sit and just take notes and pick their brain. And that's one thing I was thinking about this year, what I've done more than previous years. I'm really in a really good habit, like I'm waking up really early, I'm meditating in the morning, I'm reading a ton, and I'm journaling a lot. I've journaled more this year than I've ever journaled in my life, and I always kind of keep it with me. And I'm learning wisdom from everybody that I meet.
Yeah.
And it's like, I thought about that, because there's so much wisdom to learn from even old coaches. I wrestled too for a year, and my wrestling coach, he's in his 70s, and he still goes to camps to learn about wrestling, like in California and stuff. I mean, how incredible is that? I mean, that guy was put on earth to coach wrestling and to continue to push himself and to learn. And that's hopefully we can all be like that and never get status quo. Here's one more story. This week I had dinner with Nolan Bushnell. So Nolan Bushnell, it's one of my favorite podcasts. NPR's How I Built This. Nolan is 75. He created Atari. Okay, remember the game? The game Atari?
Do I remember? You don't remember. I remember. I played it.
It's okay. He created Atari, sold that business, then he started Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Okay? Then
I gave that man a lot of money.
Listen, then he's had a bunch of other tech startups and software. He was in town in Chattanooga for an Alexa conference. This man at 75 has created an Alexa game, like, because Alexas are going to be in every one of our rooms in the future, like pretty soon. And it's like Clue, the game Clue, the board game.
Yeah.
And you'll go around to each room and kind of do this thing. But this guy's 75 years old, and he has an Alexa startup. Like, that motivates the crap out of me. And it's like, man, I hope in 30, 40 years I'm still trying to continue to build stuff and motivate people and whatever.
That's what life's about. Life is about. I mean, why stop? I don't. That's why coaches can't retire. Coaches got to coach, and people, entrepreneurs, got to start something else new. You got to keep your brain going, and you got to keep your brain stimulated. I ain't gonna lie to you. For a non-athlete, yes, Teddy. All right, I've seen you swing a golf club. All right, I still want to see some video of you playing left guard. Did you get to play? Were you blindside? What were you?
I know. I got very limited time. I was not good.
Now, I mean, but you were in football land. I mean, you love Alabama football, correct?
I do. It's been a sad after week, but actually not sad. We're the most spoiled fans on earth. So
absolutely. And then when Saban gets done coaching Dabo, so I mean, Sweeney's going to come over to Alabama. You're going to win multiple. Hey, listen, thank you for your time. It's a Sunday afternoon, everybody, and Ted Allen takes time out of his daggum life to try to help young people and young coaches. And even though this wasn't a sports podcast, so-called, everything you said, Ted, you could put in a sports program. Absolutely, without a doubt. You can just translate it because you had so much success. If you were somewhat athletic, you could have been a coach, a really good coach, Ted, because you were an amazing leader because you cared about people and people knew you cared about them. And so we didn't talk about the X's and O's of your business because, your X's and O's part of your business at Access America was how much you were charging for this or whatever. Right. You never talked about that. All you talked about were your people, because your people, the Jimmy and the Joes, that's what wins you games. And if you just care about people, then better people will start coming to your place and you'll have more success.
Hey, can I end with one thing?
Absolutely.
I was just thinking about this, and it translates from business to also coaching. I say this to all the time to startup CEOs, and you can say the same thing for coaches. A head coach has 3 things they're supposed to do. Okay. Number 1, set the vision and mission for your program. Okay. This is who we are, and this is where we're going. Number 2, hire the smartest, hardest working, most positive, growth mindset people you can find as your assistants. That's your second thing. Number 3, keep them happy. That's it.
Let me just tell you something. The whole 30-minute podcast we just did was worth that one moment right there, Ted. You just helped a whole lot of people, including myself, because I'm not too old to keep on learning. Hey, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate your time, and you were valuable for us. Thank you so much.
All right, sounds great.
All right, buddy. Take care.